And ground ourselves or float and just breathe. So deep breath, a lot of noise. Deep breath in. More really deep breaths and relaxing on the way out with all your air. So deep breath in. And one more really nice deep breath in and long sigh. That's good. So how's everybody this morning? So we're going to do announcements. Maybe. So announcements. Tonight is what? So who's all coming by show of hands? Yay, good, groovy, good, fun, joy. Dressing up and be correctamundo. Perfect. Right on. Yeah, we're gonna have fun. Bring snacks and cover dish or whatever. Ooh, real fingers. So you can get scary if you know how to do that. So finger food or food from fingers, and fun games if you have them. Well, if you have them in your mind, I'm gonna bring like a game like Taboo group game. And we'll be in the moment with what we do and ghost stories you were talking about and things like that. So dress up, have fun. It's just about really letting go and being silly. So what other announcements? We got a lot of groovy stuff coming up. Pop-Tarts. Yes, I knew that. No Pop-Tarts for you. So November 7th, and we have the updated flyer on the window outside. It's really on the inside of the window facing outside. But it's November 7th, Tuesday night, it's November 7th, Tuesday night. And, you know, we lost a little bit of this steam that we had and the momentum we had built up because of the hurricane. So let's try to recreate some of that steam and some of that drive because it's still going to be a groovy concert. You know, Scott was listening to a new album as I pulled up this morning, and I've never heard that one, but yet I'm like, I know that, man. It's like I recognized the flavor of Bob Sima. So he's very diverse, but you'll recognize the flavor of him in all his music. So we invite you out for that. And again, it's a love offering, $15 to $30 consciousness contribution suggestion. And everyone is always welcome, regardless of what's going on in your wallet at the time. So come no matter what, and then just bring that in, the more the merrier. I'm going to see if I can get some more of the songs that we have typed, and so we can put some of the words on there. So when he whips out another song, we whip the words on the wall. It's just to make them feel good, and more people get to sing. So we already have a couple that we do, and we'll do the more. So, and that's not necessarily, I said no. I will do that. Okay, or Philip can do it. Yay, thank you. I was dry begging, but not. Yeah, I learned that term from Judge Mathis, of all places. Judge Mathis is? Where? Okay, so I'm sure he's got an event page. So follow Bob Sima on his own event page. We have ours up there, and when we find that, we can share it so people can get, you know, twice as much, you know, more for the money. That's November 7th. So in between that time, this very weekend, Scott and I are leading the Way Through workshop. So if you know anybody that's, you know, wants to discover more about themselves and wants to stand on the edge of their now and become everything that they are potentially heir to, and get the gunk out of the way, invite them to join. Send them to Scott, send them to me, send them to Becky, send them to any one of the ones that have, you know, done it to talk a little bit about it. We always keep the format as a secret, but you're allowed to talk about what you got out of the workshop. So that's more for just the community to get more and more lights turned full volume. We have a couple people that from here that are going to be in this weekend. So that's going to be groovy. Well, the assistants, we always want, if you've done the work, come back and redo your work from the back and assist the process in somebody else doing theirs. So there's always more that you get from assisting. You know, we always say that your workshop is incomplete until you've sat in the dark one more time, at least one time. So that'll be this weekend, Friday, 5th, 6th, 7th, 3rd, 4th, 5th. I mean, we got Joe's gonna, or Jonathan. Oh, home and talk, awesome. Right on. Groovy, so it's gonna be fun. Yeah, we're bringing the places together. Yes, Shannon? Okay, I'm seeking more information. What's she going to be doing on Tuesday from 11 to 1? Want to come on up? This is Don Reckla? No, this is Don Myers. I'm sorry. Don Myers. Don Myers. Here you go.
Okay.
I got a text.
Okay, so from Tuesday 11 to 1, she does access consciousness or bars, and she's bringing in other facilitators to work on each other and then open it up for individuals to come and experience it. I think it's like $20 if you haven't done it before, but I did a little while ago, and wow, I left feeling a lot lighter and a little more clarity. And so it's pretty, it's hands-on something and some teaching too.
This Tuesday, 11 to 1 at the New Way Pod. So next Sunday night for Diversity Night, we're going to have drumming circle after the workshop, so we can get all that wonderful energy that we got going on and then just amplify it all to spirit and to ourselves with drumming. So it's fun. If you have a drum or flute or any kind of instrument, bring it. If you have none of those items, just come anyway, because we always have some kind of extras. We have tambourines, and Scott's got a few drums. I have a couple different drums and flute, and so it's fun. It's groovy. We find our own sounds and we have fun with it. It's impossible to do it incorrectly. Impossible. Becky has one more.
This is exciting. On the Sunday after that, which would be the 12th, Sue Bailey is going to come do Diversity Night. And she has just gone through Mary Morrissey's coach, learning how to be a transformational coach process, which I take was rather long and intense and and transformational, yes. And so she's going to come and sort of just do like an introduction, a workshop sort of thing about that. And so she'll be here that night for Diversity Night, 6 to 7:15 or so, and love offering. And she just it'll be great to have her back. So for those of you that don't know, Reverend Sue's the one that started the pod. She founded the pod when we left when we left Unity. She founded the New Way People of Diversity Church, whatever you want to call it that. And she was our minister for a while, and then she left and went back to Unity, and that's when we got Mark. So yeah, come out and support her. It's going to be cool.
And that's November 12th, Sunday night, Diversity Night. I'm unsure what my titles will be for the next couple of weeks, so it'll be a surprise. On November 19th, we're going to do our giveaway ceremony leading into Thanksgiving. I'm giving you plenty of heads up for that talk, because what we do in our giveaway ceremony is we talk about some of the traditional meanings of Thanksgiving and of potlatch ceremony, which is a Native American ceremony of giving away, and understanding the merits of having something that's valuable to you and paying it forward. It can be a talisman of beauty. It can be a medicine item. It can be something that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. It can be something that inspired you, something that empowered you. Anything throughout your life that you've enjoyed. It could be a doodad. It could be your favorite light. Last year I gave away one of the first metaphysical thing I ever bought when it comes to New Age tools. It was a chime. And it was very special to me. And part of me, it did sting a little bit to give it away, but my little kid knew that somebody else was going to have the joy every time he or she hit that singing chime and got to ride the wave. So whatever that is for you, it could be a crystal, a stone, it could be something that you made. The idea is it's a giveaway as opposed to a throwaway. So it's like, oh man, I've been trying to get rid of this thing. Now I know what to do with it. That would be disrespecting your brother or sister that received it, because it's about the energy and the intention. You know, we always talk about the thought that counts. And it's like somebody makes you a gift and you can feel the love that they made, or they went to Walmart and bought you a doodad that meant nothing to you, but you opened a box. It's like knowing that the energetic differences in the giveaway that had feeling in it is something that you carried with you forever. You may have forgotten the gift, but you'll always remember the giver. So that's some of the energy of the giveaway ceremony. So we'll be reminding you in the next few weeks, so you can be thinking in, you know, what's that item that I'm willing to part with, kind of really want to keep, but really know it'll be a good gift for someone to pay it forward in their medicine walk, their earth walk, their life. So that'll be on the 19th. That's right. That's right. Exactly. So that'll be leading into Thanksgiving, and then when we come back the following week, we're having Keith Leon. He's going to do our service in the morning. He's going to do a concert at night. That's going to be the 26th Sunday, the 26th. You know, so that'll be wrapping up our Thanksgiving weekend with a wonderful talk with Keith and a concert in the evening. So if you've ever seen Keith Leon, he's already part of our family. You know, and he's so much more when you see him do a concert. It's like he's a very diverse fellow. He'll start whipping out jazz and stuff like that and sing a little blues, and then he'll sing his new thought type songs, if you want to call it. We sing one of the songs that he and his wife Maura wrote, I Am the Love, I Am the Light. We sing that a lot here. So we can't wait, or we're looking forward to that. Dang, that's two. We've got an internal counter because I know what today's talk is, about how many knots I use. Yes, it is. So Margie will get like doubly blessed. So we'll get a choir of people singing happy birthday to you. You know, unless you have wild plans that night, hopefully we get to see you and hang out with you. So that's coming into the season as we're leading into the Christmas season. The talks will be, you know, some will be announced. We might have a guest speaker in there in between. Our concert for Christmas is December 10th. And Deb, do you have anything that you would like to say about that?
Well, I've had a pretty good response from some people telling me they want to be in it, and I am real interested in knowing what you would like to do, and you know how to get a hold of me, because I want to put the program together so we can really start working on it. It's the Speakeasy Christmas, and you can do regular songs. I've been going online and looking at the holiday songs. If anybody has a question about anything like that, just let me know. But it's also a chance to dress up. We can go 20s style. We can have a whole bunch of F. Scott Fitzgeralds and Zeldas and Miss Fishers and all kinds of cool things here.
When is that going to be?
10th
December
of December.
10th.
There'll be two shows. There'll be one at the regular service time in the morning, and then that's what we'll do for Diversity Night as well.
Right. So that will be replacing our normal service, and we'll do our love offerings somehow in there. We always fit it in a fun way. There's something else. When is our speed healing date?
December 2nd.
Okay, I was talking with someone the other day, and I was unsure if it was the weekend before or the weekend after. So,
December 2nd.
So is anybody unfamiliar with our speed healing? What we have is kind of like speed dating. We have 6 different stations with different modalities of holistic healing. Scott will be doing reflexology at one of them. We'll have a Reiki practitioner at another one. Somebody doing holistic tuning fork work and energy work. Cranial sacral massage therapist. The aroma room is one of them. Always a different kind of floater. I don't know if I'll be doing the feather stuff or not. Different kind of healing, Native American healing, energy work healing. So there are a few different modalities. Someone that's going to be renting the space for their workshop is going to be coming at the end of service today and is going to talk to you, may be interested in being a provider. So it is 10 minutes at each station, bam. And then within that 1 hour, you rotate between these 6 stations, 10 minutes in each. It's $42 for the entire hour, because 42 is the meaning of life, we've determined. And everyone who's done it has had such positive feedback, both the recipients, the people that have just come here to receive the healing or to receive the different modalities of energy work, and the providers and practitioners have had a blast doing it too. And they're all doing it for free. It's part of a fundraiser. So on this particular event, none of the providers get paid at all. It's a service they're doing just for us, just to raise money for the pod, so that we can move forward, so that we can pay our landlord the $7,000 we owe her, and move into the black, and then create all the things we want to create for the future, for the now of the everything that we want, the more, like Scott's always saying, the more. So come in and enjoy this. If you haven't done it before, 3. If you've yet to do it, find somebody who has, and ask them their experience, and watch the lights turn on. And some, man, I was doing this, and then the Scott was rubbing on my feet over here, and then this lady was rubbing on my skull, and then I was over here. We had singing bowl people. Well, the people were normal. They brought their singing bowls. And it was, as much as I've worked with energy and vibration and tuning forks, it was the first time I had ever received someone putting that kind of medicine singing bowl on my back and doing it. And when I was a young man, I hurt my back in the Navy, and they did those electric TENS units. That permeated my body better, soothed my muscles more, and there was no every 5 seconds, which is why I think I still have a twitch to this day. But anyway, all jokes aside, it's a wonderful event, and it lasts from 10 a.m. till 4. Okay, as Becky thinks about the time, because we always like have the practitioners have the very last session of the day, and they'll work on each other to take turns for the giveaway and to get to receive some. Yeah, and then we'll feed, always, bring snacks and things like that. We are good. Okay, so I'm going to take another deep breath and shift myself out of that logic mind. Today's talk is about consciousness and conscious communication. And every single one of us use language, and every single one of us communicate. What I'm going to talk about today is where and when we're consciously communicating, and when we're communicating by default and unconsciously communicating. So a guy walks into a restaurant, and he goes up, he sits down, and the waitress or waiter hands him a menu. I guess the politically correct word would be server. And he looks at the menu, and the server's got the pad. He says, I do not want a Caesar salad. I don't want the hamburger. Don't want a chicken marsala. And I don't want the beef tartare. And that's all he says. And the waiter's there, left to figure out what the order is. So much of our life we do this, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So part of this talk is 2 parts. Some of this is me and myself. Some of this is from this gentleman named Habib Sadeghi. Here's a name. And Habib, if I mispronounce your last name, forgive me. And the reason I brought some other periodical and some other publication is to give different understandings and different perspectives that this is out in the world a lot. Now, as a writer, I know the power of words, and I know how to color words in when I'm writing a story or a poem. But I also know that in my own creation, that the power of my words, thought creates absolutely, and the words that I use are the fuel behind it and the feeling behind it. So we're going to read a little bit from this gentleman's periodical and talk about what he has to say. So how the words we use shape our lives. Words have power. Their meaning crystallizes perception that shapes our belief, drives our behavior, and ultimately creates our world. Their power arises from our emotional responses when we read, speak, or hear them. Bless you. And we know that. We've had words that we've just read, and it triggers us in a positive feeling or a feeling that makes us feel uncomfortable. But some way, shape, or form, we get triggered by words that we read, words that we see, words that we hear. And society knows this, capitalism knows this very well, and we'll get into that in a little bit more too. So we're going to speak a little bit about how they do it, and this is called the illusions of life. Quantum physics long ago determined that physical matter, oh, yeah, that worked out nicely. Quantum physics long ago determined that physical matter doesn't really exist, that everything is just energy in a different state of vibration. Nobel Prize-winning physicist Werner Heisenberg once stated, atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities, rather than one of the things as a fact. This energy vibrates in an infinite number of subtle frequencies that causes it to appear as all the different creations we see in our world. There has been a great deal of research in recent years as to whether the universe we live in is actually a holographic experience, and it seems that this is very close to the truth. And so it seems life is more of the energy flow than a collection of solid things. What that means for us is that if we stay conscious of the energy we contain, based on the emotions we feel, we can make deliberate choices that alter our frequency and create the realities we desire. If we're feeling down about something, we can choose to reframe the situation and raise our own spirits. With a renewed perspective, a higher, more positive energetic vibration, we stand a much better chance of bringing good into our lives rather than bitterly repeating old mistakes. Words are extremely powerful tools that can use to uplift our personal energy and improve our lives, though we're often unconscious of the words we speak, read, and expose ourselves to. Yes, even the words of others can easily affect our personal vibration. Spend a few minutes with a chronic complainer who uses all sorts of negative terms, and you'll feel your own personal energy bottom out. Words have great power, so use them and your friends wisely. So as we look about that and think about that, a lot of people in the New Age and the New Thought and the metaphysical communities, understanding that quantum relationship we have of the things are molecularly flowing all the time, that nothing I see is really solid, and that the notion and the nature of this holographic type universe is becoming more and more mainstream and more common in a lot of different people's thought systems, opening to the concept or to the notion of that there's more than what we're seeing, and that these thoughts that Buddha, Jesus, and a lot of different masters said thoughts create absolutely. Abraham says it all the time, thoughts create absolutely. They're constantly saying the same phrase, thoughts create absolutely. And it's understanding the power of our words within it, because there was nothing that was in physical form the moment before you had the thought, and your thought is what gives that to you. Your thought is what brings it all into form. And as we look in like Genesis and all the different ways that creation was taught to us, and God spoke, and the word, let there be light, and blah, 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 blah. And it's all about the word. It's all about the spoken word and the thought and the power of words and intentions. And we know this on metaphysical levels of in creating the reality or attracting what you want or experiencing the experience, however you want to frame it. It's all about what words you're choosing to speak and to feel and to expose yourself to. So a long time ago, I did a talk with Don Miguel Ruiz in the 4 agreements. And this runs right into the very first agreement. Be impeccable with your words. Make your words nice and shiny. Be impeccable, be clean, be perfect edges and smooth, and understand that they're perfectly creating everything that you want. So there's these throwaway words that he speaks of here. How many times a day do we throw away our words? We say things like, I hate my hair. I'm so stupid. I'm such a klutz. We never think that these words bring negative energy into our vibration and affect us on a physical level, but they do. So think about this. Whether it's been your own self at any point in your life on any subject, because you may be brilliant over here and wonderful over here and really boost your own, pat yourself on the back over here, but you may be completely unconscious of this part over here that you say to yourself, I'm a klutz, or one of these kind of throwaway phrases that take and chip away at our spirit. They chip away at our spirit. And it comes, and then it becomes what this person is framing it as, say that again. Some of us are in the habit of using these phrases and the same negative words over and over out of habit. The problem is that the more we hear, read, or speak a word or phrase, the more power it has over us. This is because the brain uses repetition to learn. Searching for patterns and consistency is a way to make sense of the world around us. Only after being burned a few times can we understand that fire is always hot. You may not remember the exact date of the Civil War, but odds are you'd still know 8 times 9 equals 72 because you had to repeat your multiplications over time and time and time again. Drilling it into your consciousness to where it became part of your subconscious and was just simply there. I'm sure you've experienced having a song stuck in your head all day long as you tried, as you might, to get rid of it. You just seem to, the melody just seems to be repeating over and over in your head, and it's impossible to get it out of your head. Repetition is the most powerful tool to imprint into our minds and to keep it there. There's been a lot of studies that have golly, affirmations. We're very familiar with affirmations. And I make the joke when Margie and I first started doing this stuff, and we were like very young and naive in it, even though we're both adults, that when we first started doing affirmations, they seemed so foreign for me. And then there's an evolution that happens within our own bodies to where an affirmation even becomes something that we evolve beyond, because we know how to use the words consciously all the time and understand that every single thing we do and say is an affirmation. How many times have you repeated it to yourself, and does this affirmation serve you and uplift you, or is it bogging you down? Is it self-deprecating? Is it disserving you? Is it creating a vibration counterproductive to the things that you desire? If we're only partially conscious, this is a particular concern when we consider a phenomenon called the illusion of truth effect. It basically proves that any statement we read, see, or speak regularly is seen as more valid than one we're exposed to only occasionally. I'm going to read that one again because people do this. It's called the illusion of truth effect. It basically proves that any statement we read, see, or speak regularly is seen as more valid than one we are exposed to only occasionally. So without naming any particular news stations, they do it in their own ways, both left and right, in the things that they repeat. Now let's go in the commercials in between the shows that we love to watch. And how many times they repeat, buy now, buy now, buy now, buy now. When should I buy it? Now? These are the things about repeating and how the people who know the power of this use it against us, and how sometimes we inadvertently use it against ourselves and each other. If we are only partially conscious of what we're exposing ourselves to, consistency will trump truth every time. You know what? I'm going to back up because I made a mistake, and it's wonderful. I just missed a paragraph. Amazingly, it makes no difference whether the information is true or false. The only thing that matters is how often we're exposed to it. Research from the University of California at Santa Barbara clearly shows that a weak message repeated twice becomes more valid than a strong message repeated once, or only heard once. Even one repetition has the power to change our minds. Even one repetition has the power to change our minds. The same goes for pictures, which are just thoughts and ideas concentrated into an image. Repetition increases our mental validation of anything we're exposed to, which is why it works so well in the political propaganda. And we're talking about that a moment ago. If we're only partially conscious of what we're exposing ourselves to, consistency will trump truth every time. Now consider how many times you have falsely called yourself stupid, untalented, ugly, or anything else. and you begin to understand how your internal propaganda shapes a false self-image. So this illusion of truth effect is really important, because there was a different study done on how people react to things told to them in a group and how people react to things told to them individually. So they did a study where they told a group of people all at the same time a lie. They told them a story about something. Then they told the same story one by one to this other group individually. Then they revealed to the entire group that they made this story up and lied. The people who were told the story as a group tended to still continue to believe the lie, even though they came up to them and said, "Nah, we were lying." And the people who were told individually went, "Oh, okay," and then accepted the validity of the new truth. And one of the why is because of that peer pressure thing that happens if nobody wants to stand outside or stand in their truth. So if I individually told you, "Hey, the sky is falling," and then say, "No, it's not." Oh. But if I told the whole group, "Hey, the sky's falling," and we all believed it together, "Hey, man, did you hear the sky's falling? The sky's falling, the sky's falling." "Ah, I was just joshing you." You had an emotional buy-in. You already shared it with somebody. You already both bought it, hook, line, and sinker, and you got invested in it with each other, and you repeated it back and forth. "The sky's falling. Did you hear the sky's falling? The sky's falling." It only takes one repetition. And then when we're in a group, we repeat that thing. So that's how that dynamic worked when it came to truth and untruth, and that illusion of truth by hearing something over and over again. And then that dynamic shift when told in a group as opposed to individual. So be aware of that. Be aware of when we're in a group atmosphere and someone is, as we were always saying, it's always an inside job. I did a talk a few years ago called God, Guides, and Gurus. Gods, Guides, and Gurus. And that the guides in here and the gurus in here, G-U-R-U, to always go within, to always keep going within. And I might have people on the outside that are going to help me along the way and go, "Hey, Mark, take a look at this inside of you." If they want to lead me outside of them, I will go a different way. You may choose to follow them. That is up to you. But my contention is that if they really have your best interests in mind, they're always going to keep leading you inside, because it's your words that are happening in your mind that are creating your world and your experiences of this world. No one else's. So as we're going through these things, it says, make words work. Consciously harness the power of your words for your benefit. Start with the ones that you're using. And that's still back under that first agreement of being impeccable with your word. Make your words nice and shiny. Choose them on purpose. What is my intention? What is my goal? Say it clearly. What is it that I want? No name calling or self-criticism. Either way. Outwardly or inwardly. "Oh, I'm such a jerk. Oh, you're such a jerk." Either way. Everyone is doing the best they can at any moment in the time with the consciousness they have to work with in the moment at the time, including you. Be kind and offer yourself the same empathy and compassion you'd extend to anyone else. So we were just talking about this in Course in Miracles the other day, that one of the biggest concepts in the Course in Miracles is just keep extending love. Just keep extending love. And sometimes it takes a moment. We got to breathe back into what we perceive just got jumped on us by someone calling us a name or by us calling our own selves name, to extend love. And that means I'm extending it outwardly, but I'm extending it inwardly. I got to extend it this way too, because it's my words that are creating here in my world. And the more I can vibrate with this in my world, the more I'm going to give anyone around me witness to, instead of me telling them how they should do it. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. Just do it and let them go, "Well, that was neat," or choose something else. Stop all self-deprecation. Never make your body or something you've accomplished or anything else in your life the butt of a joke. Words have power, and quantum energy doesn't have a sense of humor. So I thought about this one. And I'm like, and there's validity in that. And there's a place, I even did it. Forget which talk, maybe it was the Heyoka talk, where the two Zen monks were doing the self-deprecating humor, and to see who could be better at it. It's like, and it was on and on and on and on. It's like, oh, well, I'm so low and I'm so low and I'm so low. But they were making a point and making fun of that to teach about self-deprecating humor. But in the quantum reality of vibration of words, I mean, I have to call myself out on that and accept and own the truth that when you do self-deprecating humor, quantumly, it's affecting the vibration. Now, there is humor and there's a vibration in humor too. But self-deprecating humor can be something that brain is taken as a different way. If you can get so clean out of yourself, full circle, that you're allowed to use these, that you're able to use these things again, I'm going to surmise and go out on a limb that your humor is going to just fade away with the self-deprecating part. You'll just choose to be humorous in a different way. Resist gossiping and speaking ill of others. It is impossible for your words to resonate in anybody else's own body but your own. So now, something I say may resonate with you, and you have a choice in that moment to bring it in or say, Most of the time we're letting all the yucky stuff come in because we're wanting to believe it too. But it was something that we retold ourselves in that moment, so they do become mind words. And it's going to talk about, we talked about a moment ago about like surrounding yourself with positive people, and that does affect us. But it's also understanding that you have the choice because you're the one that essentially saying, yes, I believe that, and then repeating it over and over to yourself. Go on a negativity diet. I liked that one. And I likened it in a talk I did a few years ago about stepping away from the bar, and as if I was taking another shot, if I was on the wagon or off the wagon. It says instead of go just to be aware of how much intake you're taking calorically on negative words. This one's also saying instead of saying the meal was terrible, say I've had better. Okay? You're basically said what you wanted to say without putting in negative energy through your own body. You even used a positive word to do it. So there is a way of saying these things. We're going to get into that in a moment. Boost the positive energy words. Boost the positive energy of words. Instead of saying something like you had a good time at the concert, say you had a great time at the concert. A terrific, fantastic. These feel much better and generate a bigger energetic response in your body and around you. So those are ways to understand how to boost them. If you have some negative Nancy's in your circle of friends, you may want to spend a little less time with them. Surround yourself with better friends. With no judgment, harm to no one, or coach them along the way gently by being the witness. So instead of making them change. And if it happens along the way that they change with you, then groovy, you still get to hang out. But if they still remain that negative nilly, there's a difference between negative nilly and I have to express my grief. And we have a whole workshop about expressing grief. We would never want someone to misinterpret that about clam up. We've done enough clamming up. This is the run on record. So this isn't grief coming for. This is less than grief coming from your body and more about that run on record, rotating that negative scenario over and over and over in your mind. So surround yourself with positive, uplifting words. Put affirmations on sticky notes around your home, office. They say wonderful things about you, your family, your goals. Vision boards is another one of them. Wear clothes that have positive messages or phrases on them. So I was telling Scott something the other day. I have this Mitakuyasin shirt that says, "We are all related." And then I'll wear it and make sure I wear it to places like Walmart. And it's not it's less than them seeing me with, oh, look at him, how wonderful he is. It's to remind myself to walk my talk in that moment. To remember that we're all related and they're all going to be coming at me discombobulated and at each other discombobulated. And I have to remember because I'm the one who said this for me in my life, that I wanted this kind of life. So I best remember, and that helps me remember. So it's saying to do that for yourself. It's like, people spend all this money at Nike. What does that do for you? It made them more money. So it's like, I'm willing to buy the shirt, make the money part of that giveaway thing. It's like honor the proprietor, honor the weaver, honor the people. Everybody gets to be abundant. What message do I want to convey? Nike. For me, it'd be, we're all related. And I got to remember, we're all related. So walk your talk, Mark. So those kind of things help. Putting words on your mirror, having little notes to yourself, love notes to you, from you. As you keep doing these little things, your power of repetition is in a highly effective way is now used for your own benefit. You have the power to change your world. Using consciously is one of the quickest ways to do this and to shift your energy and to bring all these things in your life. So this is part of the publication from Habib Sadeghi. And I honor all these words, and there's a lot of things that some things I took out, and I was talking with Scott before. The things I took out was the Japanese Dr. Emoto's study on the water and the flakes and all that, because it's been completely debunked 50 bazillion different times. And we still know that just because he kind of went a little awry with his experiments for the sensationalism of it, ne'er takes away from the validity that words have power and wonder in them. We have on our water, it says love juice. I know that makes a difference. I know, I feel it, I can tell. It may look the same under the molecule, under the microscope, but it's less about that and understanding about the words of our intention. So there's 3 basic ones that we use a lot, and that's should. That one happens a lot. Don't, or not. And the want desire thing, I had to be called out in a loving way through different modalities of the vibration of the word want and moving it into the vibration of the word desire. And understanding that there is almost a universal thing saying I'm lacking something when I say I want. So that would be an evolution word. And if you started out with your wants, you're still on the track. I would never want to lead someone astray saying that and declaring your wants, you were going the wrong way for your highest good and creating this momentum for yourself. But it's an understanding that desire is different, because I can desire something I have still. I desire this and it's already right here. I still desire it. Wanting it is saying it's not there. It's operating from that place of lack. So from that perspective, I'm understanding, wow, let's evolve yourself, Mark, in your own use of the language, in your own use of the words. When it comes to the word should, we've been playful with it. But remember what the real definition in should is part of shall, should, shall. And it's used more of a place of like, should you leave your underwear on the floor, your wife might be mad at you. It's more of a place of predicting a future of an event that may happen, or of telling you of an event that is exact. Like, this should fit in place when you snap it in, because it's how it's designed. It's letting you know that it's the should is on purpose. There is a reason for this word in our language, and it is appropriate when used correctly. The moment it becomes inappropriate is the moment we say you in front of it, or I, unless you're working with a mechanical item that only works a certain way, and if you put it in any other way, it will break. Because what we do is we remove choice with each other, and it becomes a control game now. You should do this. But there's a lot of other ways I could do it. That's your way of doing it. Maybe that's the way you should do it because of the way your brain chemistry works. Maybe you're left-handed. Maybe you're right-handed. Maybe you have quicker hand-eye coordination. Maybe you have slower hand-eye. There's so many different, it's like, Art used to say it, our mentor, like there's different ways to load the dishwasher, because he used to argue with his girlfriend about how to load the dishwasher, because her way was right. And he should do it this way. And it made him mad. And he would playfully discover. And it made him mad. It's like there's certain ways that are more efficient, and there's certain ways that you may like that more efficient for you, but it's a free will universe. Unless it's going to break, there's really no shoulding. It's giving yourself the opportunity to say you could. You have an option. These are the different possibilities that exist before you. When it comes to the word not, this is the fun one that you've been seeing me do a little counter. Ting, ting. All week, I've been for a few weeks, because I've had this one planned for a while, to remove the word not. And realize it's like, oh, Mark, because I've done this, I'm always talking about this kind of stuff, and some people get flustered with me. But I've created a new phrase that I'm coining. I'm coining the phrase language laziness. Because there is a word for everything in there. There's a word for every single in there. And when we use the word not, we're confusing the crap out of our body, our brain, and that server. So let's go back to the very opening and go back to that server. Who in you, in this room, has ever gone to a restaurant and ordered like that and expected a meal? What does the server have the option to bring back? Either everything else on the menu, or nothing on the menu, or because the cook is back there. I'm just giving him a cheeseburger, the salad, whatever. Here, I'm just making everything on the list and giving it to him because that's all I have to go by. That's all I have to go by. So you're either getting nothing, everything on the list, or exactly what you said you did not want. And that's because the universe and your brain is unable to hear not. So the word not is spelled N-O-T. And every time we use it in our world, it all of a sudden becomes K-N-O-T in our brain. And it just cramps up because it's impossible for us to knot something unless you're a sailor or into nautical stuff and you have a lot of rope and you're tying a lot of knots. That's what happens inside when we use these words. So we've already looked at the word should and how disempowering it can be to ourselves and to other people. And I've talked about that one more. And it's something that really conscious, like I bet you it would be easier for each and every one of you, if you cursed, to quit using a curse word than it would be to quit using the word should and not. Because they become so much part of our language. And that's where I came up with this line called language laziness, because there's other ways to say it if we just took the time and realized, wow, we got words for everything. Well, that's not necessary. What would the word be? Unnecessary. Simply unnecessary. Well, I don't want that. I would like something different. A couple more words in the sentence, but the words are there for it. Every single thing that we say not to, that's not allowed. That's disallowed. The English language has every single possibly prefix and suffix to deal with making something a negative word, to make it clear to the person that that is the antithesis of what they are seeking in the moment, without saying not. And that not, I believe, not only knots us, number 6, it creates that, stops us in our tracks. But you know that the more positive words that you use, that actually starts building up your own self-esteem as well. Because something in you feels confident when it knows how to completely articulate what you want to say. In that moment that you stumble on the phrase and it didn't come out as fluid, 7. It came out less fluid than it could have. See how even in this talk, that's 7. I had to change the dialogue in 3 of their words. I'm like, they're not conscious, so I said partially conscious. And understanding how much we do that in our lives and how challenging it is to remove it from our language. And when we start looking at it as, I'm being word lazy. I'm being lazy with my language because there is a word in there for it. There's a word in there for everything. There's a word in there for me to articulate every single thing that I desire from this life, from you, from me, from my community, from the universe. There's a word. And it all has positive energy if I'm consciously willing to use it. If I'm willing to consciously communicate with each other. So that means when I'm also talking with each other, I have to start with I statements. So we already talked about the impeccability of every word, right? So sometimes when we get into this you shoulds, we start taking things personally when people are landing with the you shoulds, because if I don't do it right, well, then you're not going to like me, and then we're going to think different of me, you're going to judge me, and then we take it personally, and it fits into that same thing too. It fits into that take nothing personally, and you want to throw your expectations of how they should live their life in the first place, and you'd be more apt to naturally give options. Because, well, it doesn't affect me. 7, 8. It affects me none if you choose to do this or that. I'm unaffected by it. There we go. I knew there's an unword in there. So it's understanding that, look at the challenges I'm doing in this talk, consciously understanding, removing that word not, and removing and placing the proper words that are formulated in the English language to give us every single thing that we want. Desire. Because I want to evolve beyond that one too. Because it really does say it's not here, and it is right here. It's all right here, right now. Now, we also do something like, you should, right? What's another way to say that then? If Becky is saying, Mark, you should, what's another way Becky can say that to me? Closer. Could. What if it was something that she wanted me to do? You should come over at 5, or else I'm going to be mad.
Come over at 5.
Please come over at 5.
Yeah. I would prefer. You could. I would be grateful. I appreciate. I have a recommendation for you. That's how you said it. I would like something for you to consider. You can consider doing it this way. All of those gave that person choice. All of those. You should. Bam. Wrong if you do it any other way. And I know I get mad. I know that. Now, I have to also remember that not everybody's had the years of this in their brain that I have. So you have to be like understanding that people are programmed with this language. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about computer programming. And this has been programmed and programmed and programmed. And I'm challenging us to remove the word not from our program, to remove the word should from our program, unless you're saying, and play with yourself, get all British in it. Should you leave that there? Because that's really the proper tense of the word in the first place. So if you have to go there in your head to use that word should, shall, play with it that way. If you're like, I would really prefer if you showed up at 5. We talked about that kind of stuff in Handbook to Higher Consciousness. All of these things are coming together, and they marry to the same point that when we speak positively, everything within our body raises vibration, and it's by that virtue that I get the things that I desire. The words do have meaning. They do have a frequency. They do have a vibration. There's also something I called getting stuck in the box of always, never, and usually. It's like always. Okay, well, might as well just stay home because it's always going to be that way. Never. Okay, well, might as well quit visiting them because they'll never change. It's like that always, never, usually. It's like that's that part of another one of the 4 agreements. Make no assumptions. When we see always, never, and usually, we're making assumptions. We're assuming that it's going to be exactly the way it always was because it's never been different, and it's usually that way. And when we do that with each other in communicating, then let me, Becky's never on time. She will never be on time with me. Impossible. I've set up the energy for it. I've kept her in a box. She could have had a half hour plenty to spare, but she was meeting Mark that day, so something else happened, and she was 2 minutes late. Because I held her in that box of never, or always, or usually, or some of the things I sometimes talk about with my daughter, of if you don't know, or if you're 9, if you have no information on where someone's at in your life, and you want to visit, oh, well, they're usually working, and so then you refuse to call. You just cheated yourself out of fun if they were home and had the day off. Like, oh no, I switched my schedule. I work Wednesdays now, or whatever. It locks you in, and we do it to ourselves all the time. It's part of that, what we do to each other. And it's like when our expectations fall short because we're using all these kind of words. And if we use the words that are empowering, We never even have to have expectations because we're clear with each other. We're clear with ourselves. And then we become more empowered in it because I'm standing here going, I know how to articulate what I feel. I know how to articulate what I desire. I know how to stand in it when I'm dealing with what's coming at me. And we all need practice in this one. It's like sometimes as things happen in our world and words are coming at us so fast, we have to stop and we got to breathe into them so that we can consciously choose the next word. It's like, but it's always going to be a no flogging zone. And know that when I make the mistake and I said not, you can playfully count it and put yourself a nickel in the bowl for every time I'd be broke, you know, in the past 2 weeks. It's like, but it's been really fun remembering and challenging myself to do it. And to realizing when I used the language laziness thing, it shifted it inside me. It's like, oh, you're just being lazy? Isn't there another word for that? And it made me have to stand in it a little bit more. Well, that's going to articulate clearer what I want in the future. If I do have a desire from a human being or from a goal in my own life, the more I articulate this clearly by consciously communicating as much positive words that raise my vibration to match what it is I say I'm desiring. Because that's really what it's all about. It's like it's really a lot more simple than anything. It's like, it's very simple. When did we learn this? When did we start using not all the time? I've been watching it everywhere in programs and shows. I'm seeing, and then I watch what are deemed as very highly educated, sophisticated people that use all the big words. And they just use it in a different, they use the big word for not. But they use it less, and watch that. Watch the people that are successful that we talk about mirror the behaviors that you want to see if you want to succeed the way that you've seen someone succeed. If you want to be the greatest surfer, mimic the behaviors of the greatest surfer you've seen. If you want to be very articulate in your words, mirror the behavior of someone that you see who consciously communicates as much as they can. Comparing none, just seeing where you're at and mirroring that behavior and teaching yourself how to take yourself to the next level so that this is for you. This is for you in your world. This is for you in your relationships. This is for you in your relationships with the world itself. Everything that happens in it is what I think about it. I could run into this thing and say I'm a klutz. Or I could just run into this thing and kind of chuckle that I run into it. I have the moment in that, I have the opportunity in that moment to say a negative affirmation. I've actually bumped into things and said, excuse me before, and then laughed at myself. And I'm like, I'd rather that popped out of me playfully, like, oh, you're apologizing to an inanimate object. I'd rather that happen accidentally than, oh, Mark, you're such a klutz. Because that, oh, excuse me, felt okay. There's nobody inside that got hurt from that statement. So I challenge us all in this one to really be aware of when we're using the word not, how much we're shoulding on each other with our words, and how we disempower ourselves with these words, because these words can lift us up and empower us, or they can drag us down in the gutter. So, Homotakwiasan, and you should listen to everything I'm saying, because if you don't, you'll never, ever, I'm teasing, I love you all.